Hi, I'm Tara with Mill Street Printing, and you're watching Titantown Sports.
And welcome back to another edition of Titantown Sports. I am RJ Scott here with the first time, I think it is, with Jacob Rhodes. We've been through a lot so far. Jacob, how you been?
Absolutely. I mean, I've been good. Weight lifted off my shoulders in the last week. Good to be here with you, RJ.
Indeed. So we went through Capstone together. That was quite the process. You know, a lot of good things. But, you know, Jacob, a segment's coming up, right? It's Prime Cuts or something, right?
Yeah, I know you've been working a lot on Capstone, but you have a segment, a little split backfield action. Peyton Mel and RJ Scott with Prime Cuts.
Welcome back to Prime Cuts. I am RJ Scott here with my partner Peyton Mel, giving you a deep dive into last week's game against St. Vincent. It was a cool Saturday at Chuck Noll Field, but Westminster came out red hot. Freshman quarterback Quentin Good, aka Cheese, wasted no time setting the tone on an opening drive touchdown pass. In the defense, locked in. As Jake Phillips looks downfield, Gavin Nagy jumps around and gets an interception at the 33, and he takes it back 20 yards deep into St. Vincent territory. And tackle on a personal foul as well, and the Titans are rolling with prime field position. Next drive, Good again. This time, he launches a quick pass to Bright Cannon, and Cannon takes it all the way for 65 yards for a touchdown.
Get him! A long touchdown! 65 yards! Bright Cannon from Quentin Good!
Just when St. Vincent thought they were in, they're right back out. As I got a little Gene magic for you guys on this clip.
And nearly intercepted. And it is! It's picked up by Gene Garry! 10-5! Gene Garry Joseph has done it again! A pick and a touchdown!
By the end of the second quarter, Quentin Good, also known as Cheese, would have a great first half as he had 3 touchdowns passing with a plentiful amount of yards to show for it. The Titans are rolling high going into halftime as they look to keep dominating. I'll now pass it over to my partner Peyton Mel as he'll take care of the second half.
To start the second half, Good launches his deep ball to Bright Cannon, but is broken up by Devon Dean Cole. That would force the Titans to punt for only its second time the whole game, but they would get it right back with a fumble recovered by Hayden Brewer.
It's loose at the 22. It's still loose, and Westminster might be on the football. It looks like the Titans have recovered at the 20-yard line. And Rierick has it, the snapper, quickly down the field and making his name known.
And that sets up the Good to Cannon connection, a combo that's been clicking all year long.
Slant caught! Bright Cannon, 3-2-1, and he's in for a touchdown! Touchdown, Titans!
Fast forward to late in the fourth, Jack Babel comes up with the fumble recovery.
Dropped it at the 5. Ball still free, and he didn't get it. It's still loose, and the Titans might be on it. I think they are. Jack Bible for the second week in a row.
That led right to a Ben White score.
Motion for the Titans. Pitch on the sweep. It goes to Ben White, to the 10, to the 5, and he's in for a touchdown. Ben White on the jet sweep pass will score his first Titan touchdown as a senior.
The Titans would roll to a 57-14 victory, a win that officially secures their spot in the bowl game. They'll head to the Extra Points Bowl, where they'll square off against Mount St. Joseph in Canton, Ohio. And that's all we have for Prime Cuts. Sending it back to the desk.
Welcome back here inside the Hudl with head coach Scott Benzel. Coach, for the last time of the season, welcome back to Titantown Sports.
We switched seats here, buddy.
A little bit of an audible call. Right. It'll make sense in a second, so don't worry. But we're ready now. We're all set. We're ready to go. Well, Coach, you're going back to the Hall of Fame. Speaking of with you on post-game, things didn't quite look as good as we might have hoped for initially. Can you walk me through when you initially heard about that Hall of Fame bid that you guys had gotten?
Yeah, so this year exclusively they're looking at their MPI, which is a 100% computer-rated algorithm, if you will. So that's who gets, quote-unquote, the extra bids into the playoffs. So there is about, you know, as you guys outlined, a bunch of different scenarios. And the biggest one, the easiest one, was the Cortland State-Ithaca game, which is a huge rivalry. But Cortland wins that game, that pretty much assured Grove City. That didn't happen, so then we had to sweat it out a little bit.
We just saw that Franklin and Marshall touchdown that actually won it for them and actually sent you guys back to the Hall of Fame. So you kind of got some help from them in 2 weeks now. You beat them week 2, and then now you got them helping you out, sending you to the Hall of Fame. You're playing Mount St. Joseph. Their whole thing is a passing threat. Multiple receivers with over 1,000 yards this season, including the HCAC Offensive Player of the Year, Eli Assett. How do you and defensive coordinator Jared Heck plan to stop that threat?
It hasn't been easy this week in regards to preparation. Typically, when we roll into a game like this, our secondary, our back end is generally a proven outfit. We've had so many injuries and so much up and down back there that it's going to take some collective effort. Our front is going to have to help us handle that, because if this guy has time to throw it, he's going to have a lot of success. So we got to look at a complete defensive effort on all three levels, and everyone has to buy in and do their job. I think if we can do that, we'll be able to at least slow them down.
The offense for Westminster has scored around 37 points per game, 369 yards, over 50 points in the last 4 wins. What's going to have to happen for this offense to continue that trend and dominate on Saturday?
It starts and finishes with our offensive line. Our offensive line has to play a physical brand of football. We got to be able to run the football as much as we want in terms of play selection, and then we got to let our big players go at it, and we can do that, and I feel good about that. So that's the mentality. That's what we've been doing. That's been our success, and we want to continue to try to do that.
The main focus, obviously, on the field at Tom Benson Stadium, but the venue lends itself to teams in the Bowl Series, kind of looking around a little bit. What are you looking forward to most off the field at the festivities this weekend?
Yeah, last year the highlight of, besides the game, was my son came to the Hall of Fame with me on Friday, and he got to tour the whole hall, and it's like a full circle moment for me, because my dad took me and a couple of my buddies that we played football with when we were like 7 years old. So it was a really cool event. For me, selfishly, that part is, I'm like a kid. Like, I love being around the game. I love the game. And so walking those halls, and like Joe Montana was my childhood hero, Pittsburgh guy. Shout out to Ringgold High School. So yeah, that part is really cool.
I know you went with your son. I'm sure you'll be with him again. He had a basketball game when you guys made it to the Hall of Fame. Did he win that game? Was it a great day for you on that side?
Winners win, buddy.
Winners win. There you go.
The kids have competed. He competes. That's no question.
Well, you got a lot of key players in their last game. What is the message just to the room ahead of the game on Saturday night?
Yeah, it's the end of a quote-unquote journey. It's been an interesting journey, to say the least. There's been a lot of good things that have come from the struggles that we've had this year. This is not in any sense a crowning achievement to go out and win this football game, but it is a collective effort, and it's going to take literally everybody on the team to row in the right direction. And if I've taught our team anything, I'm hoping that they make it about the team. It's about us, and that's the way I want our players to end the year. Be happy for each other, right? And whether you're the first team guy or the last team guy.
You're staring down a good opponent in the Mount St. Joseph Lions. You need 3 keys to beat them. For the last time, Coach, your 3 keys for Saturday.
Our O-line will like this one. Run the ball, okay? We got to run the rock. That's going to help us. That'll slow down the clock, keep those guys on the sideline. That's big for us. We got to create pressure. As I mentioned, if our front 4 can do what they've been doing all year and create havoc, that's going to allow us to be able to cover up some of these secondary issues that maybe we need to continue to work on. And to find a way. At the end, you just got to win. It's the last game of the year, and there's no style points involved in that. You just want to have one more point than the other team, and that's what we're looking to do, try to find a way.
Coach, I appreciate your time. Really, thank you for coming in here these last 13 weeks. It's been great to chat with you. Personal note, been the last 3 years I've been chatting with you, so I appreciate you taking the time to come up here every Thursday. I'm
going to miss you, man. I've had a few, over the course of my years, people sitting on that desk, and I'd be lying if I didn't say you were one of the best we've had, so great job.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you. Let's see how the other PAC schools fared in our PAC Weekly Recap. Coach, good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the PAC Recap. We made it to the final week of the 2025 regular season. All that's left is bowl season. But first, Grove City has to take care of Hiram. Chase Rankin breaks away for 29 out to put the Wolverines up 21. Hiram looking to answer back. Sean Tejeda looking for Dylan Hargis. A little too high and picked off by Mason Klaus. Return 98 big ones the other way for a Wolverine score. Hiram would look to get it underway on the offensive side again. They get on the board with this 21-yard dot to Hargis at the front pylon. The Terrier offense tried to stay in it. Tejeda again pressured, rolling out to the right and throwing off platform. 32-yard strike to the end zone to Devon Lewis. Grove City would secure the game on defense with 5 minutes left. Jace Herrick reads the eyes of the quarterback Tejeda, and it's going to be a pick six. Grove City beats the Terriers 63-14. Swinging now to Grove City and Case Western. The Golden Tornado defense showed out in the regular season finale, and it all started with Noah Hutcherson. The sophomore DB was getting after Sam DeTilio early. 2 sacks in the first 17 minutes of play. Back to that Golden Tornado defense. The front seven rushing DeTilio. The ball's going to come out and picked up and returned by Nicholas Ciriello for the Geneva touchdown. Look at the Selly here. A backflip from the linebacker after the touchdown. Finally now seeing that Geneva high-powered offense. Time for your weekly long Luke Crumbacher touchdown. Caleb Romano lets it rip and hits his favorite deep threat for a 68-yard bomb. And just to end the game, some salt in the wound, the game out of reach. Pierce Olson in at quarterback for the Spartans, looking for Alec Angelo over the middle, and it's going to be intercepted by Demarion Frazier, and it's a foot race. It looks like Frazier is going to win it. Angelo can't make the tackle. 98 yards the other way for the Dagger. Geneva over Case, 43-16. The Gators and the Bison doing battle in Meadville. Dominic Baraducci just from across the 50 gets to the outside and turns on the Jets. Allegheny up 14-0. Gator quarterback Sean Siska loads up and hits Chris Geiswait for a 55-yard score. The long bomb up the middle there. Allegheny now up 21. It's Siska again looking for wide receiver one, Devin Larry on the far side here. A little stop and go from Larry. Perfect right over the shoulder pass for another Allegheny score. Bethany would, however, get on the board late. Brett Phillips finding Jermaine Biersing on the near side for 6. Allegheny is going to top the Bison 42-6. It's time to go bowling as 4 teams will represent the PAC in the postseason this Saturday. And there, the PAC teams for the last game of the regular season. Few big wins for every team. W&J also got a win against Teal. Now time, kick it to Ethan Kurtz for a little banter at the board.
Thank you, Jake. We're back at the whiteboard talking about how Westminster qualified for the Open Doors Bowl Series in Canton, Ohio, and also how Grove City made it to the NCAA tournament. So starting off, one thing I told you to look out for, of course, the Titans had to beat St. Vincent, and they did 57-14 in convincing fashion. Grove City, of course, also needed a win, and they did that as well. 63-14. They beat Hiram. Now, where things got a little more complicated, all of these matchups, or at least some of them, had to go right in order for things to go the PAC's way. Starting with Allegheny and Bethany, a Gators win would help out both Grove City and Westminster quite a bit. Allegheny took care of business in West Virginia, beating Bethany 42-6. Lebanon Valley handled things against Albright, winning 38-35. It was actually a 100-yard kickoff return touchdown that set up eventually Lebanon Valley in the position to get a game-winning field goal with time expiring. They win 38-35 over Albright. Then, one of the biggest games of the week. I said it wouldn't matter too much. Well, it ended up mattering a ton. Franklin and Marshall stunned number 1 Johns Hopkins 29-28. It was a game that whether Johns Hopkins won or not wouldn't have affected things too much, but with F&M playing Westminster, ultimately helped sway the PAC's non-conference strength of schedule enough that it helped Grove City get into the tournament. Then Central and Co., a game I didn't even have eyes on, ended up being huge. Co upset Central 13-7. Central was 13th in NPI. The loss brought them out of the tournament and sent Grove City in, so a huge win from Co College out of Iowa. Then Ithaca Cortland, the Cortica Jug, a game that we all had eyes on. Well, it didn't go our way, but things still ended up falling in favor of the PAC schools. Cortland lost 21-26. Ithaca trying to make the tournament. They weren't able to do so. They finished 44th in the NPI standings. And then Coast Guard and the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, the biggest game maybe of the weekend. Coast Guard was right on the edge of a postseason spot. If they won, they very well might have made it, but they don't. They fall 38-39 in a game played at Fenway Park. Really, really cool there. And then a game from way back in the beginning of the season, Case Western and Rowan, a game that ended in a tie, 17-17. Rowan actually had the lead 24-17 in the third quarter. They called it, ended up being a tie on both teams' favor. That game ended up shifting Grove City into the playoffs. The simulation I saw on Twitter actually had, if this game was a Rowan win, Grove City might not have made the postseason. So that one, a huge result in the end, being a tie, helped propel Grove City into the NCAA tournament. They match up with Hanover this weekend. Westminster, of course, sent to Canton, Ohio for the Pro Football Hall of Fame bowl game against Mount St. Joseph. So there's the path to Canton. Here are the Banter at the board. Westminster and Grove City both continuing their postseason hopes.
Yeah, I mean, wow, Ethan, I'd love to have that memory. I think I have a good one myself, but all those scores there, I got the memory down to a T. Now time to kick it to Tom Rook, talking with legendary Geneva head coach Geno DeMarco about his final season.
Taking a trip to Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, Geneva College head football coach Geno DeMarco is in his 33rd and final year coaching the Golden Tornadoes.
Obviously, going to college here changed my life when I transferred from Baldwin Wallace. I believe in Geneva. Believe in the education at Geneva.
This whole season has meant a lot to us because we know it means a lot to him. And I think there's evidence of that all around the community, all around the school. So yeah, he means so much.
He is now the longest tenured coach at one school of any coach in college football at any level. Also serving as an assistant professor of business and spending 10 years as the Geneva athletic director, Coach DeMarco and his family have quite the connection to the college.
I came back and from Baldwin Wallace and graduated, my brothers and sisters, and then I have 4 daughters who graduated from here, and they end up marrying players that played for me, and a strength coach that was with us. They all have Geneva degrees, and now we've got grandkids. It's a storybook.
He really is Geneva football. He means so much to this community, to this campus. There's a reason he's been here for 33 years.
Coach DeMarco played on the Geneva football team as a student athlete from 1981 to 1983, and after graduation, he spent 3 years as an assistant at Georgia Tech and West Virginia before returning to the Golden Tornadoes as an assistant under Geneva Hall of Fame coach Gene Sullivan. From one program wins leader to another, Coach DeMarco talked about how big of a mentor Joe Fusco was to him at the start of his coaching journey.
My manager at that time, Tom Tamelio, whose brother played at Westminster, Andy, and I talked with him and I said, I'm in a crossroads because, I'm here at Upjohn and it's a very good living. I got this calling to go to Geneva to coach ball and I just don't know. And he said, well, why don't we just go talk to the person that knows how to win and has done it forever. Meeting with Coach Joe Fusco. He gave me 3 pages of outline on how to build a winning college program. And of all the coaches at Westminster over the years, Coach Fusco recruited me. Incredible respect for him.
Westminster versus Geneva is a rivalry that began in 1891. Coach DeMarco talks about what makes this matchup so special.
The thing that I admired about the team up north was they had a commitment always of excellence in what they were doing in athletics and in what they were doing in the classroom. And it was a great respect.
Coach DeMarco also spoke about current Westminster Titan head coach Scott Benzel.
He's an incredible football coach, he really is. So all this thing about creating this rivalry with the team up north that I absolutely did create was more out of incredible respect for trying to emulate at that time what was the best small college program in the entire nation.
When asked if he had any advice for an aspiring college football coach, Coach DeMarco said this:
learn from a guy like Gene Sullivan and make sure you sit down with a guy like Joe Fusco before you start.
A Geneva legend, a college football legend, Coach Geno DeMarco. For Titantown Sports, I'm Tom Rook.
33 years at the helm at Geneva, and Coach DeMarco left a lasting impact that will forever impact all the lives of Golden Tornado players and fans and families alike, Jacob.
Absolutely. I mean, the most legendary coach in their history, 33rd season, as you mentioned, over 170 wins. The first coach to pass 100 wins back in 2007, and also an inductee in the NCCAA Hall of Fame.
Yeah, 6-4 this season, 6-2 in PAC play. He will be playing in the Robert M. Scotty Whitelaw Bowl against Brockport, as that will be a very interesting matchup against the PAC and the Empire, which I can't wait to see, actually. I hope I can catch that.
Absolutely. I mean, we got our own bowl game here at Westminster. They got a bowl game. Congrats for the Golden Tornadoes. Great way for Coach DeMarco to end his final season. But switching gears from the gridiron to the hardwood, let's check out the basketball conference realignment for the PAC.
As the basketball season is underway around the PAC, things are going to look a little bit differently this year amongst the conference. On April 23, 2024, the PAC announced Hiram College will return to the PAC and begin full athletic competition in the 25-26 season, giving the conference 12 members. This will allow the league to form 6-team North and South divisions, with crossover games beginning in 2025 and 2026. Hiram College has joined back with the PAC. Hiram was a member of the PAC from 1971 to 1989, during which time its men's basketball team won 5 conference titles. They will have a 2-division, 16-game conference schedule that has teams playing 2 games with the other 5 teams in their division, and 1 against each of the 6 teams, 3 home, 3 away in the other division. All games will count in the league standings. There will continue to be PAC tournaments following the regular season to determine the conference champion and recipient of the PAC's automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. The PAC South Division looks to be a little bit stronger than the North. Within men's basketball, the past 3 winners of the PAC championship have come out of the South. With women's, the last 4 champions have come out of the South. For the playoffs will begin in late February and feature an 8-team championship tournament bracket. For the first round of the playoffs, it will feature the number 4 seed in the North taking on the number 1 seed in the South. The next game will be the number 4 seed in the South versus the number 1 seed in the North. The third game will be the number 3 seed in the North versus the number 2 seed in the South. And the last game, the number 3 seed in the South versus the number 2 seed in the North. And then the final 4 remaining teams from the quarterfinals will go on to the semifinals. All games to be hosted by the higher seed. If seeds are tied, the team with the highest overall record in the conference will earn the right to host. If seeds remain tied in an overall conference record, tie-breaking procedures outlined in the PAC code will be followed to determine hosting rights. And that's what the new PAC conference regulations for men's and women's basketball is going to look like for this season. For Titantown Sports, I'm Austin Downs.
And my man Austin Downs informing us, keeping us up to date with the constant change in the PAC as Hiram now joins the conference, shaking some things up a bit, adding some more teams, some new faces as well, Jacob.
Of course, and last year we had St. Francis also join the PAC, not in conference play yet, a few years down the line, but nonetheless the red flashes in the PAC. PAC play begins for Westminster December 3rd at Allegheny. Ben, Kelly, and I on the call for that. Now, we've got a little high school segment, RJ.
Yes, we do. The View from the Tower by Ethan Kurtz, always a great segment. Let's check it out.
I'm Ethan Kurtz, currently overlooking Old Main here on the Westminster College campus, the perfect spot for a view over the high school sports landscape. Football playoffs continued, and volleyball all-district teams were released, so let's get right into it. Sharon's only wish for Christmas was a D10 championship, and Old St. Nick granted it as the Tigers took down Hickory 20-17 in the 3A title game. Sharon will take on Penn Cambria, the D6 champions, in the PIAA quarterfinals Friday at Penn West Clarion University. For the first time since 1989, Laurel is headed to the WPIAL Championship. The Spartans shocked number 1 seed Fort Cherry 24-14 to advance to the District 7 title game against Clairton at Acrisure. This Jackson McVicker INT sealed the win for Laurel, with Jack Miles also recording 103 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, 3 TFLs, and a fumble recovery. Greenville knocked off Wilmington 25-22 to win their first D10 championship since 1999. Greenville will now face District 9's Port Allegheny in the PIAA 1A quarterfinal. Farrell took down the District 9 champions Carnes City 48-20 in the first round of PIAA 2A action. Farrell will match up with Richland, the D6 champion, on Friday. It was also announced Monday that Farrell would apply to move out of District 10 and join D7, the WPIAL. However, for the second straight year, Farrell were denied the move to District 7. In Lawrence and Mercer County volleyball news, Wilmington sophomore setter Ali Jekovic made the PVCA District 10 1A second team. Lakeview's Leah Marsteller, a senior setter, was first team. Hickory's Bryn Patterson was a 2A third team selection at outside hitter. That's all for high school sports for this week. I'm Ethan Kurtz. Let's send it back to the desk on Titantown Sports.
Ethan Kurtz, always with a great high school and view from the tower up a little a summary of the sports in the area. You know, playoffs are starting, RJ, so some of the teams are slowing down. Not as much to talk about. Ethan Kurtz, still a PAC segment.
Yes, high school sports are heating up. Speaking of high school of the week, I mean, we got Farrell, and I actually had the great privilege of doing a documentary on Farrell for my capstone. I got to learn a lot about the history, about sports, the culture, the diversity, and so now you get to learn about what they're doing for high school of the week. Let's take a look at that.
Titan Town sports fans, I'm Lily Stenman, and it's time for another edition of High School of the Week. This week, we are taking you to Farrell, Pennsylvania, highlighting the Farrell Steelers. Farrell High School has been a defining part of the community since its opening in 1939. Built with both local and federal support, sitting high above the city, the school's modern classrooms, science labs, vocational shops, and large gymnasium auditorium helped shape generations of students. From its beginning in simple one-room schools, the district grew into a strong, close-knit educational community, and Farrell High has remained its heart. The school was created to serve a rapidly growing city and quickly became a central place for learning, activities, and community pride. That same spirit carries onto the football field, where the Farrell Steelers have built a powerhouse legacy, ranking 16th in Pennsylvania. Known for their toughness, tradition, and championship pedigree, the football program has become one of the school's strongest symbols of pride and determination. Farrell's defense is powered by a core of standout players who set the tone every game. Dorian Kane adds strength and experience with his 109 tackle performance, while his brother DeMar Kane contributes steady coverage and key interceptions in the backfield. In the middle, Jason Marshall II controls the field, leading up the team's tackles and anchoring the linebacker unit. Up front, Rashawn Dunbar leads the pass rush, using his power and quickness to rack up sacks and disrupt offenses. Together, this group has built one of the toughest units in the state, holding opponents to 7 points or fewer in 9 games this season. On offense, junior quarterback Aaron Pegues gives Farrell a reliable dual-threat leader. He averages 45.9 rushing yards per game and has rushed for 9 touchdowns, making him a constant threat on the ground. Through the air, he's just as effective, throwing for 16 touchdowns with a completion rate of almost 70%, showcasing how efficient he's become. In big games, Pegues steps up. He's had multiple 200-plus yard passing performances and have proven that he can take over a game with both his arms and his legs. But Pegues isn't doing it alone. One of his most dependable weapons is senior wide receiver Jamari Jones, leading the team in receiving yards, and defensively, he's just as dangerous, recording interceptions and forcing turnovers. However, the engine of Farrell's offense this year has been Juelz Johnson, a tough, explosive runner with great vision. He's put together one of the best seasons in the state, over 2,000 all-purpose yards and 34 total touchdowns. Johnson's the kind of player Farrell leans on, earning his place as a Nebraska commit. Post-game, Derek McLafferty got the chance to talk with Johnson about what makes Farrell different from the rest.
I mean, the unique thing about us is our bond. Not only if we born on the field, but we're brothers off the field too. So we're all brothers, and we're not going nowhere without each other.
And while Farrell's roster is filled with talent, the heartbeat of the program starts on the sideline. Guiding this group is head coach Anthony Pegues, a Farrell alum who returns to lead his alma mater and has since built the identity of the Steelers into a regional powerhouse.
These guys are a really close-knit group. A lot of these guys hang together, not just at practice, but off the field. You know, they spend a lot of time together, a lot of classroom time together. They're just a close-knit group, and they've been together forever. A lot of these guys have been playing peewees and midgets together all the way up. So we've been talking about they've been playing together for 10 plus years or something like that. But when you got a group that close, it shows out here on the field.
This has been your edition of High School of the Week, highlighting the Farrell Steelers. For Titan Town Sports, I'm Lily Stenman.
As Lily said there, Farrell Steelers, one of the best programs in the area. RJ, constantly at the top of the playoffs. And
one sec, Jacob. I don't mean to interrupt. Lily and Derek, great segment. How'd you get all that footage? Because when I was doing my capstone, I was emailing people, getting teachers, talking to Bryce. Couldn't get in the gym. Couldn't get a few of those shots. Want to know how you got that done. A great segment overall. Didn't mean to cut you off, Jacob.
No. Anyways, switching gears a little bit, heading to the natatorium, a little serious segment, talking about a Westminster swimmer and his reason why he continues swimming. Water has a way of carrying memories, and for Ethan Schohn, every ripple reminds him why he swims and who he swims for. Swimming is a sport measured in seconds, but built on hours. Early mornings, endless laps, precision down to a fingertip. It's a balance of power and grace, every stroke controlled, every breath deliberate. For college students, the pool becomes more than water. It's a classroom, a battleground, a second home. And for Ethan Schohn, it's a place he's grown up in.
So I've been swimming for years. My whole family swim together growing up.
I spoke to Ethan about how he made his way to Westminster College and some of the things he's proud of thus far.
Came here for a tour, loved it. Met some swimmers, including P. Benny, Hayne, Annabelle, Maddie McLean. on the tours where we had our recruit lunch, and I just fell in love with the campus, and I was like, yeah, I could see this here, and it became one of my top options. I'm proud of me sticking it through many things. This year I'm proud of how well I'm doing in the pool. Surprisingly, how I haven't felt the best with my shoulders and whatnot, but I've been swimming good. My times are pretty good, and I didn't think I'd be getting good times this, I guess, early in the season. We're in the mid-season point right before Worcester, so that's all fun.
I then asked Ethan his why he continued to swim into college at Westminster.
The reason why I guess I continued from high school into college and said, yeah, we'll keep going with the sport. Why not? And a couple more years is mainly just my lessons my dad taught me growing up. She's a big reason why I swim.
Ethan then touched on a specific record at his alma mater that means something to him.
And we were just talking about records and stuff, and they brought up a time in specific of the 50-free record at my high school club, which is a 21.56. That time in specific, in my head, I was just like, I want to get it. Why not?
Sadly, Ethan's father would pass away in 2022, but every time before stepping on the blocks, he remembers to pay tribute and honor his father first.
I have a voicemail from him of him just saying, hey, it's me, what's up, how's it going, I love you. Just a voicemail for him. I listened to that probably a couple of times, handful of in my head, just to lock in. I have a tattoo on my chest for him that I got this year that I've been wanting to get, especially after he passed. I was like, I'm gonna get it. The tattoo is just have a day. It's something he'd tell me every day before I go to school and something. And it's just it's maybe not the best day, but just keep going, dude. Have fun, why not? And it's just something that always meant something good to me. So I got it in his handwriting on my chest this past year.
I ended off by asking Ethan one thing he would tell his father today.
Thank you for the lessons you bestowed on me, and just all your mannerisms and everything. Every point and anything you taught me has meant so much, and I carry it very forward to this day. And I try to just do everything in honor of him somewhere too. I know he tried really hard to be there, do a lot of stuff, and I just wanted to know it meant a lot, and I saw it.
Over a decade in the pool, a lifetime of memories, and a promise that keeps pushing him forward, stroke after stroke. From WCN, I'm Jacob Rhodes. And a deep segment there. I'm glad Ethan opened up to me about something that really means a lot to him. His dad, who he honors and tributes every single meet, RJ.
Yeah, quite the segment. I never knew that about Ethan, and to see that he propels on and he keeps going is very, it's very good to see. And he's one of our own, so we love him like family.
Absolutely. Now we're kicking it to Titan Town Trivia for episode 13. This is the 7th postseason appearance under head coach Scott Benzel. When was the last national postseason appearance for Westminster? A, 2014, B, 1989, C, 1996, or D, 2021? RJ, I'm throwing it to you.
I know in the 80s and in the 90s we were pretty successful, but if I had to go with my best guess, I'd say C.
We'll see, we're going to say 1996 for our answer. And it's going to be 1996. Those 90s Titan teams were no joke.
Yeah, and Sean O'Shea, senior now with Suns here. We have a great thing going here. But the Titan Town sports athlete is reserved to the athlete that excels in the previous week. Playing in his final game, this Titan snatched his second career pick six in a decisive 57-14 win over St. Vincent. He was named player of the game in the contest, but that kept the Titan seasons alive. And it looks to be the deciding factor for the second year in a row at the Hall of Fame Stadium. This week's Athlete of the Week is Agent Zero, Garry Joseph. A personal friend of mine and teammate, Gene. Wow, you're just phenomenal. I mean, week in and week out, you're doing something, different. So, what would be this week's, what's going to happen this week with you, Gene? Another pick six, maybe 1,000 sacks, who knows?
Well, I don't know yet, but I have a feeling I'll get another one this week. But I was very happy to capitalize and get one.
And with a stellar career you've had, this potentially could be your last game, could not be, whatever. We don't know what the narrative is, but what would you have to say about, going into this game? What do you want to leave out there on the field?
Well, Coach Benzel always said, you have to play like it's always your last, and I just want to make a statement that I never had the opportunity to play in other schools, and Coach Benzel gave me an opportunity, and I just want to leave a legendary,
Leave a mark. Yes, indeed. And, PAC, all honors teams coming out later on, so hopefully we see you on there. I don't know. Hopefully we do. I have a good feeling, though. But that will be all for Titan Town Sports today. Thank you guys so much for watching. As you know, I lost my partner, but I got Gene. I'll take that trade any day of the week. 100%. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys next week, and you hope to have a good one.
I'm Jacob Rhodes, color commentator for the Westminster Titans, and that's a wrap on this week's episode of Titan Town Sports. See you next week.